Okay, let's be honest. We've all been there, right? You get super excited to learn a new language, you dive in, and then a few weeks later, you just stop. But what if I told you the problem isn't your willpower? Today, we are diving into the new science of language learning and a totally different system that might just change everything for you. I mean, does this sound familiar? You'll start with all this energy, you buy the books, you download all the apps, and then, boom, you hit a wall. It suddenly feels completely impossible, and you just kind of drift away from it. If that's you, I want you to know you are so not alone. This is an incredibly common story. And it really makes you wonder, what if it's not about being bad at languages? What if the methods we've all been taught are just wrong? Yeah, the issue might literally be the way you're trying to learn. Think about it. Our brains didn't evolve to sit and memorize grammar rules out of a book. They evolved to pick up patterns from hearing and seeing real communication. So a lot of traditional methods are actually fighting against our brain's natural wiring, and that's exactly why it feels like such a struggle. So let's start by actually putting a name to that feeling. You know, that frustrating wall that so many of us hit. It's not just in your head. It turns out it's a real, documented, psychological thing. It's called foreign language anxiety, or FLA for short. And this isn't just about feeling a little nervous. It's this unique kind of performance anxiety that can literally make your brain feel like it's shutting down the moment you need to speak or even just listen. It's a total roadblock. So the big question is, how do we get past this anxiety and actually start making progress? Well, the secret key is this amazing idea that basically flips traditional language learning completely on its head. It's called comprehensible input. This idea comes from a brilliant linguist named Stephen Krashen, and it's so simple, it's beautiful. Basically, we acquire language when we understand messages, not when we memorize rules. It's all about surrounding yourself with things to read and listen to that you can mostly understand, even if you don't catch every single word. Krashen even has this cool little formula for the perfect learning zone, I+1. I is just your current level, what you already know, and the +1 is new stuff that's just a tiny bit beyond that. It's that sweet spot, you know? Not so hard that you get frustrated and not so easy that you get bored. It's just right. And this leads to a really important distinction he makes. We acquire language subconsciously, the same way we did as kids, just by being exposed to tons and tons of this comprehensible input. That's what gets you to fluency. On the other hand, we learn language by consciously studying grammar. And that's useful, for sure, but that knowledge just acts like a slow, clumsy editor for your speech. It's not where your fluency actually comes from. Okay, so this theory is amazing. But how do we actually make it a part of our real, busy lives? Well, we have to turn this whole process of getting input into a consistent, automatic thing. In other words, we have to build a habit. And a linguist coach named Walter Freiberg has a great way of applying the Atomic Habits framework to this. See, every habit has 4 parts. The trigger could be as simple as your morning coffee. The desire is that little hit of satisfaction you get from understanding something new. The response is just opening an app or a book for like 5 minutes. And the reward? That awesome feeling of progress no matter how small. Just like Freiberg says, the goal here isn't to have these massive, exhausting study sessions. It's about weaving tiny, consistent moments of learning into the fabric of your day until you don't even have to think about it anymore. Okay, so a daily habit is the foundation, right? But now, in the 21st century, we have tools that can seriously turbocharge how much effective input we get in that little window of time we have each day. And this is exactly where modern tech comes into play. Things like spaced repetition software, or SRS, have gotten so smart that they line up perfectly with these new scientific principles, letting us supercharge our learning. So check this out. On the left, you've got the old way, a single word on a flashcard, totally out of context. It's really hard for your brain to grab onto that. But on the right, you see the new way, a full sentence. Now your brain isn't just memorizing a random word, it's acquiring it naturally through a message it can actually understand. And get this, the results are kind of mind-blowing. A 2024 study that used a new app called All AI found that this sentence-based approach led to a 4 times increase in how fast people grew their vocabulary. 4 times. That is a massive, game-changing difference. But here's the really crucial part. It's not just faster, it's actually more fun. The same study showed that people found the sentence-based method way more enjoyable. And that is so key because if you actually like doing something, you're going to stick with it.
It's the secret sauce for building that lasting habit.
And this brings us right back to where we started. We began with that big problem, foreign language anxiety. But now we're armed with a whole new system: comprehensible input, good habits, smart tech, and we can finally tackle that beast head on. Krushin has one more brilliant concept for this, and it's called the affective filter. You can think of it like an emotional shield. When you're feeling anxious or bored or just stressed out, that shield goes up. And when it's up, even the most perfect, understandable input can't get through to the part of your brain that acquires language. So, how do we lower the shield? Well, it all boils down to a few really powerful strategies. Find stuff to watch or read that's so interesting you actually forget you're studying. Use tech that's low pressure, where the focus is on just understanding, not speaking perfectly. Try to connect with other learners. That support really reduces the fear. And finally, celebrate every tiny win to build up that confidence. That's really it. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. When you're relaxed and genuinely engaged with what you're doing, that affective filter just drops, and your brain is totally free to do what it does best: soak up language naturally. And this is the most important thing I want you to take away. Becoming fluent in another language isn't some magical gift that only a few lucky people have. It is the natural, predictable outcome of having the right system in place, a system built on a consistent habit of engaging with tons of compelling, understandable input. So, I'll just leave you with this question. Forget about the grammar drills and the endless vocab lists for a second. Think about a TV show you love, or a book, or a podcast you're hooked on. What amazing story could you start to understand in a new language if you just began today with this different approach? Thanks for watching.